You're listening to the School Leadership Reimagined podcast, episode 182. How do builders like us make a dramatic difference in the lives of our students in spite of all the obstacles we face? How do you keep your vision for your school from being held hostage by resistant teachers, uncooperative parents, ridiculous district policies, or lack of time, money, or resources? If you're facing those challenges right now, here's where you'll find the answers, strategies, and actionable tips you need to overcome any obstacle you face. You don't have to wait to make a difference in the lives of the people you serve. You can turn your school into a success story right now with the people and resources you already have. Let's get started. Hey builders, welcome to another episode of the School Leadership Reimagined podcast. I'm your host, Robyn Jackson, and today we're going to talk about something that I think has been on a lot of people's minds lately. I'm seeing a lot of people say, this year has been really hard already. They're feeling finally, the accumulated stress of having gone through a pandemic. And people are tired. People are at their wits' end. They're saying things like, I can't take one more thing. I don't know how long I'll be able to continue to keep up this pace. People are asking questions like, what else can we take off teachers' plates? Or how can we alleviate teachers' burnout and overwhelm, especially when we're feeling it ourselves? I think that it's showing up in all kinds of ways, the ways that we treat each other in meetings, the snarkiness that I'm starting to see online. And it's not that people are mean. I mean, teachers and educators in general are some of the most generous, kindest, self-sacrificing people ever. But when you ask people to continually be self-sacrificing, when you ask people to continue to work really hard and not see the reward of that work, the payoff, and when we keep adding things to teachers' plates and to our own plates, it can be very overwhelming. And people are saying over and over again, I can't juggle one more thing. Well, today we're going to talk about the cure to that. And it's not what you think. Because if you feel like you are juggling too many things right now, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling underappreciated for all that you do, if you're feeling like the work, you're working as hard as you can, you're juggling as fast as you can, and you're still not seeing the results that you'd hope to see, and you're tired, then the solution is really simple. Stop juggling. Now, before we get into how to do that, I want to talk to you about Buildership University. Now, right now, registration for Buildership University is closed for the rest of the year. We are going to be focusing on getting the new members onboarded and starting to work. The cool thing about Buildership University is that the people who joined in this last intake, by the time we start the new year, they're going to have one plan that helps them focus on the things that matter most. They're going to have a vision in place, a mission, a set of core values. So when they start out in January, when they return from winter break in January, it's going to feel like a new school year for them. They're going to see such a difference happening already. And I'm so excited to help them see that in their schools. So we're going to be focusing on helping the people inside of Buildership University achieve that. But if you want to be a part of the next intake, which is happening sometime in 2023, then all you need to do is go to buildershipuniversity.com and get on the wait list. And here's why you want to get on the wait list. Because when you're on the wait list, you're going to find out about the next intake before everybody else. So you'll have a chance to reserve your spot before anybody else gets a chance to reserve their spot. And from time to time, spots open up inside of Buildership University. And when those spots open up, if you're on the wait list, we'll just reach out to you and you have the opportunity to maybe even get into Buildership University before the next intake. So you don't have to wait. So simply go to buildershipuniversity.com and click on the waitlist button and add your name to the waitlist. And that way you won't miss the next intake. Now let's dive into today's topic. And the advice I gave at the beginning may come off feeling a little flippant. Oh, you're juggling too much. Why don't you just stop juggling? That is not my intention at all. I don't intend to be flippant. But it really is that simple. Not that easy, but it really is that simple. If you find that you are juggling, you have too many balls in the air right now, it's time to drop some balls. And that can feel really, really scary. I get that because everybody is telling you that everything is important. But when everything is important, nothing is important. And so it behooves you to take a step back every once in a while and make sure that all of the things that you're juggling are things that actually belong in your school. I'll give you an example. I was working with a principal recently and she was telling me, well, we're doing this and we're doing that and we're doing this and we're doing that. And then the district is adding this to it. And, I keep trying to take things off my teachers' plates. And what she's doing is she's not removing the work. She's taking it off teachers' plates and adding it to her own plate. And then she's feeling overwhelmed because now she's got this additional work in order to protect her teachers. What she's done is just essentially sacrificed herself. And unfortunately, the teachers don't appreciate it. The teachers don't see the sacrifice because even though she took that thing off of their plates and put it on her plate, they still have a lot on their plates. And so now she's thinking, I can't take anything else off teachers' plates. They don't appreciate what I'm doing. They're still overwhelmed. And you're working harder and harder and harder. And yet you're not seeing any relief. There's no benefit to doing it. Do you ever feel that way? Do you ever feel like you are working really hard and you are trying to protect your teachers from overwhelming? You're trying to do all these things and you're killing yourself on behalf of your teachers and they don't appreciate it. They don't see it. Or maybe they do appreciate it and they say, hey, thanks, as they're leaving to go home because you let them out early, but you're the one who has to stick around and you're the one who has to pick up the slack. And if that's the case, everybody's juggling as much as they can. And then here comes the district throwing another ball into the air and saying, hey, juggle that as well. And you can't keep that up. That's important for you to hear. You cannot keep up that pace. You're going to have to stop juggling. So let's talk about how to do that. The first thing that we show our builders how to do, especially when they come to us and they're saying, we're just overwhelmed, is we do an audit of everything that they've got going on. And we don't just go and list everything they have going on and start randomly crossing things off. We first start out with, okay, what is your vision? What's the thing that you want to accomplish in the next 3 years? What is your 100% vision? We just completed a 100% vision challenge where we help people create that. We do monthly free vision workshops for those of you who are not in Buildership University because your vision is really where it starts. If you don't have that 100% vision, nothing else makes any sense, right? But once you have that 100% vision, the first thing we do is we say, okay, take a look at everything you're doing. And you're going to look at it through the lens of your vision and ask yourself this question. Is this moving our school towards our vision or is it not? Don't give me any maybes. If there's a maybe, it's not. Is it moving us towards our vision or is it not? So let me give you an example of some of the things that often show up on people's lists. Let's say that your vision is 100% of students will be at or above grade level. That's a typical vision for a lot of people. We just want to get all of our kids on grade level. So then you start looking at all the other stuff. So you start looking at, your PBIS program. You look at your SEL efforts. You look at your curriculum. You look at the teaching strategies. You look at your expectation that every teacher spend the first 5 minutes of the learning period on a warm up. You look at your data team meetings. You look at everything that you're having teachers do. And you ask yourself this question, is this moving us towards our vision or is it not? Now, this is really hard because a lot of the things that you're doing are good things. They're important. We should be looking at data. Yeah, we should be addressing students' SEL needs. Yes, we should be finding ways to help students understand what the learning intention is going to be for the day. Yes, we should be getting into classrooms and giving teachers feedback. Yes, teachers should be in PLCs. Those are all great strategies. The question is, are those the strategies that are going to move the needle for your school forward right now? I talk to people all the time and they tell me I'm doing this, and I list all the things. And then I ask them the question, all right, how are those things working? How are those things moving you to your vision? And then people start stuttering. Well, I mean, I have to do PLCs. Do you? I mean, if your PLCs are dysfunctional, you'd be better off not doing them. If your PLCs just become gripe sessions about kids, you'd be better off not having them. Well, we have to do data meetings. If your data meetings just trap people in a room where the data wall is and force them to look at the data, but that data doesn't inform their instructional decisions, you'd be better off not doing it. Well, we have to have team planning. If your team planning meetings are about teachers kind of rinsing and repeating stuff that they've done before without them thinking strategically about how that plan, that lesson, that unit is actually going to move students towards where they need to be for your vision, you might as well not do it. Well, I have to get into classrooms. If you're wandering in and out classrooms every day and giving people feedback that is not moving their practice forward, that they actually resent, you might as well not do it. So yes, all of those things may be good in and of themselves, but the question that you need to ask is, are those things right for us right now? And in often cases, the answer is no. Some of the things that you're doing in your school right now, I guarantee you, are relics from another era. There are things that made sense when you instituted them, but they no longer make sense for you. We are very good at adding new things to our plates. We're terrible about assessing our plates to decide whether the things that are on our plates actually belong there. And so most of us have not taken a good look and at the things that we're doing, and we have not made those things earn their spot on our plates. You see, everything you do has to earn the right to be a part of your plan. And if it's not pulling its own weight, you need to get rid of it. One of the hardest exercises that we do in Buildership University, it's not even something you do when you first come in. You have to get some things established first. But once you do that, we do a strategy called system mapping. And it takes a long time to do. You go through and you take a look at everything that you're doing in your school, and you map it out. And then you ask yourself two very important questions. The first question you're asking is this thing that we are doing adding value to our students? Is it getting our students closer to the goals that they have for themselves and that we have for them? Then the second question is this thing adding value to our school? Is it making us operate more effectively and efficiently as a staff? Is it bringing us joy? And that's the question that we don't often consider. We're really good at thinking about value to kids, but we don't really consider whether or not it's making us better as an organization. Is it allowing us to serve kids better and to serve them more effectively and more efficiently? We're willing to take a really clunky process and impose it upon ourselves in order to serve kids without really interrogating that process to see, is this the right process? Maybe, yeah, this is the right, strategy, but is the process we're using the right one for us? And here's the thing, if it's onerous, if it's going to wear you out and burn you out, then it's not good for kids either, because eventually, even if it's having an effect, you're going to give it up because you can't sustain it. And so the two questions you have to ask yourself is for everything you do. And we break it down, not just random things like, we have an SEL strategy, but what is every single step in that strategy? And every single step in the strategy has to earn its place or it goes. And by the time you complete that exercise, you're going to see a lot of stuff that you are doing that you think is working that isn't. By the time you complete this exercise, you will know what needs to be taken off your plate and off of your teachers' plates, because it's not adding value to anybody, not to your students and not to the school. How often do we do that? we're so caught up in the day to day that we don't take a step back. But here's the thing. When you're a builder, you realize you're the only person in the building whose job it is to do that. Your teachers are teaching and serving kids. Your support staff is supporting the instruction that's happening in the school. Because you're the builder, you're the person who has to step back and make sure that everything you're asking of your teachers and your support staff and of your team is something that is going to actually make a difference in the lives of the kids. If you're not doing that, why are you there? Why are you earning a salary and benefits? So the teachers, if your feedback is not strategic, the teachers could give each other feedback. If anything else you do it doesn't, somebody else could do. When you take a step back and examine the systems in your school to figure out, are they serving kids? That's something only you can do. So why is it that we don't spend the time doing it? Your teachers are relying on you to do that work. They're not relying on you to come into their classrooms and give them feedback, although feedback is important. They're not relying upon you to plan PD days, although PD days are important. Many teachers would just as soon not have them. The only thing that your teachers really rely on you to do is to make sure that the organization is getting better and better and better, and you are putting things in place to set them up for success and removing things out of their way of success. That's your job. That's what it means to be a builder. So when I say stop juggling, your job is not to keep all the balls in the air. Your job is to look at each ball and say, is this something that should be in our lives right now? If not, you're getting rid of it. And even though we have a process we teach in Buildership University, we have a whole system mapping template that we use, and we walk through it with you, and then we kind of, give you feedback on it as you're doing and help you identify other areas where it could, where you could there's some balls that you can drop and let go of, and we also give you a lot of feedback about how you could take things and improve the system so it's serving the kids and it's serving the school. Even without all of that, you could simply right now sit down and take a look at your vision and then examine the systems that you have in place in your school, systems around grading and reporting, systems around instructional planning, systems around discipline. So, look at all of the things that you're doing every day. Look at the system that they're a part of and examine that system and ask yourself the question, is this adding value to the students and moving them closer to the vision and the goals that they have for themselves? Is it adding value to our organization, making us better and better at achieving that vision on behalf of our kids? If the answer is no, it needs to go. Now, once you do that, you're going to find that you've been wasting a lot of time on things that are not adding value to anything. How do I know? Because I've done it myself. In fact, we regularly as an organization go through and take a look at our systems and do that map. And even though we think we've got it all down pat, there's nothing else we can find. Every time we go through that exercise, and we use the same template, by the way, that we teach inside of Buildership University. So we hold ourselves accountable for it too. Every single time we go through that, we find something else to take off our plates. And here's what happens. The more we do that, the more we are strategic, not just getting frustrated and just sweeping things off the plate, but strategically removing work that no longer serves our clients or serves us. We get better. We get more focus. We build something better than what we were doing. And we're happier. We're doing work that really matters, that we're seeing a difference in the work. We're seeing a payoff. The same thing is true for the builders. When they go through the system, at the beginning, you can look at that and you're like, wow, it's just a lot of just dead weight around here. But that's sobering, and it's also empowering, because the moment you see the dead weight, you give yourself permission to get rid of it. You give yourself permission to take that thing that's not working and to stop doing it. Just stop. I mean, it really becomes that simple. As we had someone in Buildership University, and she went through the system map, and she saw something. She says, we've been doing this for years. It doesn't work. And so she just made an announcement to her staff. Look, I've been looking at this. I can't see how it could work. Can anybody see how it works? No. All right. We're going to stop doing it today. not only did she not see a single difference in the results that they were getting for kids, she also saw a change and a shift in the morale, because instead of dividing people's attention here, she's now taken one distraction out of the way so they can focus on the things that matter most. And guess what else? She now doesn't have to monitor that system. So instead of trying to make people do something that nobody wants to do, that's not adding any value, it's gone. She doesn't deal with that anymore. Now she can focus on the systems that work. The other thing that this process does for you is it helps you see ways to potentially improve systems to make them work better. You see, what we tend to do is if something's not working, we don't stop doing it. But then we go find something else and we try to duct tape that onto an already broken system, because we think that, oh, if we just get this new thing, and add it to the thing we're already doing, it'll make the broken thing work better. Like I see this all the time, like with data, right? So, we say we want teachers to look at data. So the teachers go in, they don't know how to look at data. We're not sure how to facilitate that process. So we make the data wall and do all the things. We look at the red numbers and say, oh, we need to turn those green. And, we look at the green numbers and pat ourselves on the back, but it doesn't really inform instruction. So we realize that. So we say, what we need? We need a data protocol. And so we go get somebody's data protocol. And then we try to train teachers on using this protocol and force them to use the protocol. And a lot of times those protocols create these artificial conversations that still do not change practice. Problem is, we don't have a good system for looking at data, and slapping a protocol on a broken, idea around how to look at data doesn't fix it. But when you look at what is our vision? How does looking at data move us towards our vision? Now your data meetings aren't just about, well, everybody has data meetings. People say that's important, so we should have data meetings. Instead, your data meetings are about, okay, what data do we need to be looking at in order to monitor how we're doing on our vision? In Buildership University, we teach you how to create a scorecard. So you're not looking at all the data and drowning in it every single week. But every single week, you've identified a couple of key numbers that let you know whether or not you are making progress towards your vision. And those numbers are mostly leading rather than lagging indicators, because the leading indicators are numbers you have the power to change. The lagging indicators are after the fact. So an example would be how many student goal setting sessions did we have with students this week versus how many students achieved their goals for the semester, right? How many students achieve their goals for the semester? It's already happened. You can't do anything about it. All you can do is look at next semester. But if I need to have so many goal setting meetings with kids every single week to keep them on track for their goals, I can monitor whether or not I hit that number. And if I didn't, I can adjust things next week to hit that number. So that's kind of a random example, but I hope you get the difference between leading and lagging indicators. So when you understand what the data meetings are supposed to be about, then instead of looking at all the numbers, you can monitor the numbers that make the most sense for your teachers right now. And if you're looking at those leading indicators, then teachers can take those leading indicators and compare them to the lagging indicators and say, all right, that's a lever that I can move next week. And then let me try to move that lever and see if it makes a difference in that lagging indicator. And now your data meetings actually mean something. And by the way, a lot less work, because you're not just piling through data. You're looking at just one number and what can we do this week to change that number? Now it's value to the kids and it's value to the school, because now you have a more effective, efficient meeting that really creates insight for teachers to become better and better and better. So that's what you need to be doing right now. And this is a great time of the year to do it, right? You've started the school year, you have some information. Everybody is feeling a little overwhelmed right now. And so now's a really good time not to just randomly sweep things off of your plate or off teachers' plates, not to just add something else to your plate and just try to, gut it out until the holidays and then take a quick break over the winter break and gird your loins for the remainder of the school year. And maybe I'll think about it this summer. Do it now. Take some time right now and spend some time looking at all the things you're doing right now. But I don't want you to just make a list of random stuff. I want you to look at those things through the lens of your vision. How is this moving our vision forward? And the things that aren't moving your vision forward, they go right away. You don't have to look at the system. You don't have to, it's not moving our vision forward. We need to stop doing it. And the things that you think may be contributing to your vision, those are the things I want you to take a look at and break down a little bit more. You want to take a look at all the steps in the process. And does every step in that process add value to the kids and value to the school? If the answer is it doesn't add value to either, maybe you shouldn't be doing that step. If the answer is it adds value to the kids, but not to the school, then when you're looking at that step and thinking about tweaking and what do you take off the plate or what do you improve, you want to look at how do we maintain the value it's giving to kids while also creating more value for our school. And the opposite is also true. If it's great for your teachers, but not so great for kids, how do we maintain the value it's giving to our teachers, but increase the value it's giving to kids? And those conversations actually become really productive. Those conversations actually help you take your systems and make them better. So you're not adding anything. All you're doing is taking your existing systems and you're getting rid of the ones that aren't adding value to either. They're not moving you towards your vision. And the ones that are left, you're looking at how do we create systems that add more value to everybody without creating additional work. And when you do that, then instead of juggling all these competing priorities, you can focus on what matters most. Now, I want to say a word about, what happens if it's not our system? What happens if the district is making us do it? I want you to do the same thing. This is what we do all the time when people get hit with district initiatives and they're forced to do it. We were working with a couple of principals recently, and their district was mandating that they all do PBIS, and they had to do it this specific way. And so how do you take that? What do you do? Now we're adding this on the teachers' plates. It's nothing wrong with PBIS. So we're not casting shade on PBIS, but they were saying maybe not this year. We've got a lot going on, and to learn a new program and to really make it work, it doesn't make sense for us right now. And the district said, we don't care, do it anyway. And so they came to office hours and we're like, okay, so how do we do this? And we use the same process. Okay, let's take your vision first. What is your vision? And now let's figure out how do we take this program and make the program serve your vision? And then what are all the steps that are mandated? And how do we take those steps and turn them into steps that add value to the kids, but also add value to us as a school? And how do we integrate that into what we're already doing so we're not repeating work or adding more work? What else are we doing that will fit these steps? And when we did that, we saw so much potential in the program that it didn't feel like, another mandate. They didn't have to go to their staff and say, guys, I know, hate to ask you this, but the district's saying we need to do it. Sorry to add something else to your plate, but, I tell you what, we'll do a jeans day on Friday. And then, hopefully that'll make up for this 15 hours of extra work you're going to now have to do. No, instead, by being thoughtful about this process, by going through and mapping it out and extracting value from every single step, they were able to integrate this into their own program, their instructional program, in a way that added value to the kids, added value to the school, and actually made their school better, moved them towards their vision. So if you're juggling, get out the juggling business. You don't need to juggle. What builders are doing is they're not juggling at all. Instead, they're being very strategic. They're being very intentional about taking everything that they are being asked to do and making that thing serve their vision. And when you do that, you don't feel like you're overwhelmed. You don't have that same sense of exhaustion at the end of the day, or frustration or futility because the work you're doing, you're working really hard and you're not seeing the results. Instead, everything you do is producing results. And that's why, the builders in Buildership University are putting up the numbers that they're putting up, because they're really focused. And we did this panel at our last Builders Lab, and we had some people from, some builders from Buildership University come and just kind of encourage the people who are just starting their buildership journey at Builders Lab. And they were talking about what they were doing. They were talking about how they were achieving these incredible results. And when they left the Builders Lab, when the panel was over and we were kind of debriefing the panel with the Builders Lab participants, people were saying the same thing. They were saying, listen, I can't believe how calm they all were. It's not that they're not working hard, but they're seeing the results of their work. So their hard work feels like they're paying off. But they're also probably not working as hard as some of you, because they have been very intentional about the work that they do. You know, our builders are going home early. We have several builders who, after going through this process, are saying, you know what, I'm leaving work early on Fridays so that I can spend time with my weekend. I'm turning my phone off on the weekends, and I'm not, you know, on my computer all weekend doing makeup work and catch up. I'm actually able to spend time with my family or spend time doing the things that I want to do, because they've been really, really intentional about their work. And it's not that they're not working hard, but they are working in a way that's more efficient and effective, and the results speak for themselves. So here's my challenge to you this week. I know you're busy. I know you feel like everything that you're doing is important and urgent, and you don't have time to do any of this. But I want to challenge you. I bet if you could find an hour and take a look at what's happening in your school. What are all the things that you're doing? Start with what you're doing first. Don't, think about your work. Where are you spending all your time that you have no time to think strategically about your school? And I want you to ask yourself, is that work moving your vision forward? And I know that this may feel hard. I mean, we've had people in Buildership University come to office hours and say, well, I can't because I'm subbing classes. And I think, stop subbing. Well, if I don't do it, who will? Good question. Let's figure that out. Who else can do it? And when we did, we found a way to get the principal out of the classroom subbing so the principal could be the principal. And it didn't hurt kids. We weren't overtaxing other teachers or asking them to sacrifice. There is so much potential in your day that's untapped. There's so many pockets of untapped value in the work that you're doing that if you just spent the time looking for it, you could, a week from now, 2 weeks from now, not be feeling so overwhelmed. You could, a week or 2 weeks from now, go to your teachers and say, you know what? We're taking this off your plates. And they actually appreciate it because it's something that really does give them relief rather than a token thing that you're taking off their plates. So my challenge for you this week is really simple. I want you to find an hour, just 1 hour. I want you to take a look at your vision for your students. And then I want you to look at everything that's on your plate right now. And I want you to ask yourself a question. Is this moving us towards our vision? If not, it goes. If you're not sure, then I want you to take some time kind of breaking that down. Okay, what are all the steps in this process? Get as minute as you possibly can. And then for each step, I want you to ask 2 questions. How does this add value to kids? How does this add value to our school? If it doesn't add value to both, get rid of it. If it adds value to kids but not to your school, or adds value to the school and not to the kids, think about how you can rework that so that it's adding value to both. Promise you, if you go through this exercise, you will find opportunities. You will find things to take off your plate and off your teacher's plate. But more importantly, if you go through this process, you become more efficient in achieving your vision for your school. So I'm challenging you to do it this week. Don't put it off. Don't say I'll do it another time. This week, do it so that you can stop juggling and start building like a builder. I'll talk to you next time. Hey, if you're ready to get started being a builder right away, then I want to invite you to join us at Buildership University. It's our exclusive online community for builders just like you, where you'll be able to get the exact training that you need to turn your school into a success story right now with the people and resources you already have. Inside, you'll find our best online courses, live trainings with me, tons of resources, templates, and exemplars, and monthly live office hours with me where you can ask me anything and get my help on whatever challenge you're facing right now. If you're tired of hitting obstacle after obstacle and you're sick of tiny little incremental gains each year, if you're ready to make a dramatic difference in your school right now, then you need to join Buildership University. Just go to buildershipuniversity.com and get started writing your school success story today.